Hello everyone, this is Tim, and today I'm going to talk about creating your own Cleric spell list. Now, this is something that your GM could do for you, or that you could bring up to your GM or DM, and just sort of ask for some clarification on what your deity is like, what the rites and rituals are for that deity. And as you go through the spell list, you can try to pick out spells that fit that deity and kick out the ones that don't. In addition to that, instead of just focusing on the cleric spell lists, you can go through the magic user, or wizard, or sorcerer, or whatever classes are available, those sorts of spells, and pick and choose the ones that fit. For instance, if you have a fire deity, go through all the spells that are in your game of choice, and try to pick out all those ones that either have flame or sparks, something to do with that sort of sphere of influence, that sort of domain. So, as you're going through things, just look through maybe other spell books, other books that are available. And this is for like D20 games, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, your OSR game of choice like Labyrinth Lord or Swords and Wizardry. And I think this would give a little bit more flavor to Cleric. You would be casting spells that most clerics don't, perhaps. And I think it helps sort of get into the mode of a character who worships that deity, something that's a little bit different than the norm. You're not just casting healing spells, you're, maybe even summoning things depending on what your deity is like. So, when you're making a character, ask your GM about the setting, what their deities are like in that setting, and if it's sort of an open world setting where the GM is allowing characters to create their own deities, to make up their own religions, etc., you can have a lot of fun with this. Just make sure if you do any of this kind of stuff, you get your GM's permission first to see what he thinks, see what he wants to do with creating your own spell list. And this is actually an idea brought upon by High Adventure Role Playing, because that's exactly what the system tells you to do: to go through all the spells and pick out the ones that are closest to your deity's sphere of influence or domain. So when you're thinking of playing a cleric, there's a lot of room there to have a lot of fun with it, to do your own thing, come up with a group of spells that fit your particular type of cleric. So I'd like to hear out there, have any of you ever done that? Have you ever made your own spell list for your own cleric class, or maybe even just your own class that has some cleric abilities but isn't like a 100% cleric? Maybe you've made your own paladin classes or ranger classes or something like that, where there's a little bit of divine magic in the mix, but there's also the martial, maybe even thief aspects, something like that. But yeah, it's just an idea. Have a good one.